Hello, this is Jennifer with Women Loving Jesus, and today we're on Proverbs 10:12. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all sins. When we're reading this verse, we may think it sounds similar because we actually find something very similar in the New Testament, and there's a couple other verses that are similar to this. But the one we probably recognize is 1 Peter 4:8. Above all, love one another deeply because love covers a multitude of sins. Going over this verse, I feel like this verse, I could spend an hour video going over so much that is in this verse because there's some richness and there's so many different layers to this that we could talk about with this verse. So I really don't feel like, I can cover everything that this means in just the short amount of time that I have here. When I was praying, though, the Lord put it on my spirit to just focus on one aspect. So this is just one aspect of this verse that really I'm leaving out a ton of other things that could be mentioned in here as you think about this. The part that the Lord really wanted me to focus on, though, is at times we are called to love, to cover up the sin that is done against us, right? Or we can choose to hate when sin is performed against us with people. And this happens to us all because we're all sinners and we can't really live without this happening at some point. I think, though, one of the things that Satan has brought into this world, though, and is in the voice of society and around us to try to get us away from this verse is this idea of fairness. This isn't fair, so and so needs to do this, or this needs to happen, so and so. Right? The idea that fairness is what we focus on will prevent us from loving and can stir up hatred. Let me just bring some examples. So and so at work, so and so at church gets this position, gets this time, gets this activity, gets this recognition. Loving is maybe you spent hours doing more, maybe you spent time doing things that weren't recognized, maybe there was a lot more on your shoulder than this person. That's not fair. But their love says we're supposed to love that anybody gets recognized, or somebody gets this, or they get appreciated for what they do, whether they did 1 hour, we did 10 hours, right? Hatred would be, that's not fair. Therefore, I need to not rejoice with their rejoicings, or I need to come against them, or I need to prevent them from succeeding, right? That's what's stirring up in your heart. So one of the things that I think God has called us to do is just deal with this, that no, our society is not fair. It will never be fair in any type of junction. At work, at some point, we're going to have to deal with unfairness. Church, we're going to have to deal with unfairness. In our families, we're going to have to deal with unfairness. In relationships, we're going to have to deal with unfairness. In all sorts of manner, we're going to have to deal with unfairness. And when unfairness happens, to focus on love and to give it to the Lord. Because Jesus at judgment can make things fair. I mean, he's seeing everything. He's not ignoring your 10 hours of work and their 30 minutes of work, right? He's seeing everything. So I pray that the Holy Spirit today has encouraged you, and I thank you for listening.